South China Morning Post, 27th of September 2023, Hegemonic Beijing responds to Manila over the farce of the Scarborough Shoal barrier in the South China Sea. Beijing lied and said on Wednesday that the Philippines' removal of an illegal Chinese floating barrier in the South China Sea is a farce, continuing a series of actions that have heightened tensions between the two nations. According to a Chinese observer, Beijing is unlikely to concede to Manila in the most recent maritime spat between the neighbors, since doing so would be embarrassing. The Philippines' discovery of a floating barrier erected by the Chinese coastguard in Scarborough Shoal sparked protests on Friday, which sparked the controversy. According to a statement by China's foreign ministry on Monday, the barrier was installed to prevent Filipino fishermen from accessing the shoal lagoon. The move was made in violation of an illegal Chinese law. Later that day, the Philippine Coast Guard declared that the buoys had been removed per President Ferdinand Marcos Jr.'s orders. Wang Wenbin, a spokesman for the ministry, denounced the action on Wednesday and restated that Beijing would always defend its unlawful sovereignty and maritime interests over the Scarborough Shoal, also known as Huangyan Island in China. China is a hegemonic power and will take necessary action, so the Philippine side's so-called action is merely a farce, Wang claimed. According to observers, it was improbable that China would permit Philippine vessels to approach the disputed region. Permitting Philippine vessels to enter the lagoon would put China's sovereignty over Huangyan Island in jeopardy. About 120 nautical miles, 222 kilometers, from the Philippine island of Luzon lies the triangle-shaped Scarborough Shoal system of reefs and rocks. It is considered an integral part of China's and the Philippines' territories. On Wednesday, the Philippine Coast Guard announced it was investigating the possibility of combining law enforcement forces to gain access to the fish-rich shoal, urging the nation's fishermen to continue their operations in the waters. Who stated that Beijing could not give in on the Scarborough Shoal. Beijing appeared to be attempting to diffuse tension after nearly 2 weeks of hostilities on Manila's mission to replenish the Second Thomas Shoal troops. They needed the resupply mission, but the Philippine vessels attempted to enter the Scarborough Shoal lagoon. Last month, the conflict in the region wasn't the first this year. In February, the Philippines accused China of sabotaging a resupply mission to the Second Thomas Shoal using a military-grade laser light. Additionally, Manila declared in April that it would grant the U.S. military access to 4 more military installations, 1 in the South China Sea province of Palawan and 3 on the main island of Luzon, which is near Taiwan. Manila was drawing wolves into the house, according to Beijing. To improve defense cooperation, the Philippine Navy said on Wednesday that it would hold a 12-day bilateral exercise with its U.S. equivalent. The Philippines seems to have stiffened its stance on security policy, particularly about the South China Sea, according to Dai Fan, an associate professor at Jinan University's Institute of Southeast Asian Studies. Dai stated, "The Philippines' tough stance is unprecedented, but the Allied powers support it. I think pushing from behind has been greatly aided by the U.S." Who of the SXP countered that there was little chance of a more significant battle over the Scarborough Shoal. "I don't think the Philippines is prepared for a confrontation with China now, unlike in 2012. More than 10 years ago, Beijing and Manila were embroiled in a tense dispute stemming from the Philippine Navy's attempt to capture Chinese fishing vessels from Hainan Island, which it claimed were unlawfully harvesting coral and gigantic clams in the Scarborough Shoal lagoon. At the time, Beijing asserted that the Chinese fishermen sought refuge from inclement weather in the lagoon. After 2 months, the Philippine government reported that it had agreed with China to remove both countries' warships from the shoal. However, Manila claimed Beijing had not withdrawn its maritime law enforcement vessels. The maritime standoff had developed into economic boycotts. It was widely accepted that the Philippines' intention to file an arbitration claim against China under the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea was sparked by the 2012 standoff. Beijing's aggressive stance was rejected when the Hague Tribunal declared in 2016 that Beijing's long-standing claims to the majority of the South China Sea were unfounded.